The flash timing FAT 200 and the LS Plus systems both meet the USATF rules for fully automatic timing. In this video, we're going to look at how to evaluate a race using both systems and the differences in the two systems. So the first we'll look at is the FAT 200. It is a high-speed video. You can see, play the video here. It's a high-speed video of the finish of the race, and it's captured at 200 frames a second. So if you look at the clock down here at the bottom, you can see with each frame, it's going to advance approximately 5/1000th of a second. So if you look at the first finisher here in lane 5, you can see on this frame she's at 11.804, and if we advance the next frame, she is actually a little bit past the finish line. Her time would be 8.09 or 11.809. So you will score her based on her torso passing equal to or passing the finish line. So the torso does not include the arms, the head, the legs. It's where her torso crosses or is past the finish line, at or past the finish line. So in this instance, this is where you would score her. Her time officially would go down here in lane 5 would be 11.809. Now when you pull these into your meet management program, by rule, it's going to round this thousandth up to the next hundredth. It's going to be 11.81 will be her official time, because times are recorded in 2 digits, not 3. The thousandth of a second are used to break ties, and surprisingly, especially if you have 5 or 10 heats of 100, you will get probably some times that are the same that have to be broken by the thousandth. So with the 200, if you look back the frame before she gets there, you'll see there she's not quite to the finish line, and we do not have the information. We don't have what happens between here and the finish line, because the next frame she has passed it. So that's the FAT 200. So we'll go ahead and score the rest of this race. Move lane 4. She is at the finish line. Her torso is at the finish line, so that's lane 4. Here comes lane 2. Lane 3. She is right there, so lane 3. Now lane 6 and 7 is going to be a little interesting, because as we move this forward, you see they're not at the finish line. Like it kind of looks like lane 6 is ahead, and I'm going to zoom this in so you can see a little bit better. So you see both 6 and 7, their torsos are not to the finish line. The next frame, they're still not to the finish line, so we would not score them yet. The next frame, now they're both past the finish line, and this, using the 200 system, the FAT 200, this is where you would score them, because they're both torsos are both past the finish line. So they would both get the same time, 12.509, and they would be tied. Now we'll look at the same race using the LS Plus. It's a little bit different image. Basically, you're getting a still picture that's captured at 1,000 frames a second. So 1,000 images are captured every second. So now with the time, when we move the cursor here, you'll see the clock down here move, and we get every 1,000th of a second. So if we move lane 5 here, we'll see her time. We'll go to lane 4 here. We'll go to lane 2 and lane 3. Now we get to lane 6 and 7, and we're going to zoom in again so you can see a little bit more detail. As you can see, lane 7 and 6, as we move the cursor over to their torso, you can see right here, move my mouse back, you can see right there, it is at her torso. You see this little image over here, that she is at the finish line now, so her time would be 12.508. So we'll mark her here, and you can see there's still a gap between the finish line of 6 and the finish line. So lane 6 would be right there, 515. Actually, that didn't come out right. I moved my cursor. She would be right there. 12.510. So when both of those times are rounded up, they're still going to be 5.10, but based on this 1,000 frame a second, 7 would be the winner that would break that tie, and she would be considered the winner. So hopefully that explains kind of the differences in the two systems. If you have any questions, email me at rick@flashtiming.com.